Arjun was known as hardworking, ambitious, and intelligent. Yet despite his effort, his life felt like climbing against a rushing current. He thought, if I just push harder, success will come. If I control everything, I'll finally feel peace. But the more he fought, the more drained he became. Nights brought no rest, only racing thoughts, self-criticism, and fear of tomorrow. One night, unable to bear the noise in his mind, he walked out of his village. His feet carried him to a quiet riverbank. There, he noticed something strange. The water moved effortlessly around stones, yet it always reached its destination. For the first time, he wondered, what if life isn't meant to be forced, but flowed? The next morning, Arjun found an old woman seated in meditation beside the river. She radiated stillness, as if she were one with the flowing water. This was Sage Mira. He bowed and asked, "Why does my life feel so heavy, while this river flows without effort?" Mira opened her eyes slowly and answered, "Because the river is empty, Arjun. It does not carry the weight of yesterday, or fear of tomorrow. Empty your mind, and you too will flow as naturally as the water." To teach him, Mira poured tea into a small cup until it spilled. "Stop," Arjun cried. "It's overflowing." Mira looked at him and said softly, "And so is your mind, overflowing with control, worry and doubt. Unless you empty it, life cannot pour its wisdom into you." This was his first lesson. Emptiness is space for flow. The first practice sitting with silence. Minute 20:30. Mira gave him his first practice. Sit by the river every morning. Breathe deeply. Do not chase thoughts, do not fight them. Let them pass, like clouds across the sky. The first days were torture. His failures replayed in his mind. Thoughts of work haunted him. Dreams of success made him restless. The silence was lighter than any sound. Arjun almost gave up, but Mira reminded him, "The mind is a pond. Stir it, and it cannot reflect. Leave it still, and it mirrors the sky." Slowly, Arjun began to notice moments of calm, brief spaces between thoughts. Mira told him a parable. A farmer planted bamboo. For years, nothing grew above ground, though he watered it daily. People laughed at him. But in the 5th year, the bamboo shot up taller than any tree. All along, it had been growing roots unseen. She looked at Arjun. "Your silence is planting roots. Do not be fooled by what you cannot see yet." Arjun spent weeks listening to the river. He noticed it never fought the rocks. It flowed around them. It never clung to its water. It let everything pass. It never doubted itself. It simply moved forward. Mira explained, "The river is not strong because it resists, but because it yields. You must learn to let go." The parable of the stone and the breeze. Minute 4248. Mira told another story. A stone once mocked the breeze, saying, "You are weak. You move and bend while I stay firm." But centuries passed, and the breeze carried soil, water and seeds, until the stone was buried. What remained was grass, trees, and life. The stone's strength ended, but the breeze's flow continued forever. Arjun realized true power lies not in control, but in flow. One year, heavy rains caused the river to swell dangerously. Villagers panicked, fields were flooding, homes at risk. They rushed to Arjun, who by now had earned a reputation for wisdom. But fear filled his chest again. What if I fail them? What if I make the wrong choice? Mira's voice echoed in his heart. Empty your mind, Arjun. Stop clinging to fear. Let solutions flow through you. He breathed deeply, cleared his mind, and suddenly saw the answer. Redirect the water into channels to irrigate the fields instead of destroying them. The villagers followed his guidance, and not only were their homes saved, the crops flourished. They celebrated not just his wisdom, but his calmness in crisis. Years passed. Arjun became known as the man of the river. People traveled to hear his teachings. When asked the secret of his wisdom, he always replied, I did not gain wisdom by filling my mind. I found it by emptying my mind. Life itself flows naturally, if you allow it. A young seeker asked him one day, Master, what is the greatest lesson the river taught you? Arjun smiled, eyes shining like water in sunlight. That peace is not found in controlling life, but in surrendering to it. When you let go, you do not fall, you flow. Final reflection for the listener: your mind is a cup. If it is too full, nothing new can enter. Your mind is a pond. If it is stirred, nothing is clear. Your life is a river. If you resist, you struggle. If you flow, you arrive. So remember, empty your mind, and let life flow naturally. Arjun lived in a busy town. Outwardly, he looked strong, but inwardly, he felt small. Every time he wanted to try something new, speaking up at work, taking leadership, or chasing a dream, his inner voice whispered, You're not ready. People will laugh. You might fail. His steps were slow, his shoulders bent, and his eyes always looking down. He admired confident people, wishing he could be like them. But instead of walking with strength, he dragged his feet in silence. One day, weighed down by his own doubts, Arjun wandered into the forest, and found sage Mira meditating under a tree. Her presence was calm yet powerful. She radiated a quiet confidence that needed no display. Arjun bowed and said almost in tears, Sage, I am tired of living in fear. I want to walk with confidence, but my mind is filled with doubt. How do I change? Mira replied gently. Confidence is not something you put on like clothing. It is revealed when the mind is empty of fear. Empty your mind, Arjun, and you will walk tall. Mira handed Arjun a large bag filled with stones. Carry this while you walk, she said. Arjun struggled, his body bent, his steps unsteady. Then Mira told him to drop the stones. His steps became light, his back straight, his pace steady. Mira explained, This bag is your mind. Every stone is a doubt, a fear, a past mistake you refuse to drop. With such weight, you cannot walk with confidence. But once you let go, your natural strength appears. Amira guided him to sit by the river and practice silence. Breathe in deeply. Breathe out slowly. Watch thoughts rise and fall. At first, Arjun's mind screamed, What if you fail? What if others judge you? What if you're not good enough? But Mira reminded him, These are just clouds. Let them pass. Behind them is the sky of your true self. Limitless, open, confident. For the first time, Arjun felt a glimpse of inner stillness. Mira told him a story. A lion cub lost its mother and grew up among sheep. It bleated, ate grass and feared everything. One day, a lion took it to the river, and showed it its reflection. For the first time, the cub roared. It realized, it was never a sheep. It was a lion all along. Arjun, Mira said, you live like the sheep because your mind is full of fear. But deep inside, your confidence is a lion waiting to roar. To test him, Mira took Arjun into a crowded marketplace. Walk through the street as you are, she instructed. Arjun hesitated, hearing his mind. They're watching you. You'll trip. You'll look foolish. Empty your mind. Mira reminded him. He closed his eyes, inhaled deeply, and let the fear go. He began walking steadily. His back straight, his eyes calm. People noticed his composure and respected him. Confidence, Arjun realized, wasn't about impressing others. It was about being free inside. Mira gave him another teaching. A scholar came to learn wisdom. But his mind was already full. His master poured tea into his cup until it overflowed. You are like this cup, the master said. Full of your own thoughts. There is no room for new learning. Arjun, your mind is full of doubt. Until you empty it, there is no space for confidence. Soon after, the village bridge collapsed. Panic spread. People turned to Arjun, who once would have hidden in silence. But now, he closed his eyes, emptied his mind of fear, and spoke with clarity. We will not panic. We will rebuild. Each of you has strength. Together, we will succeed. His calmness inspired trust. The people worked together and rebuilt the bridge. Confidence was no longer a dream. It was now his way of being. Years passed. Arjun became known as the man who walked with confidence. He no longer sought approval. His steps were steady, his voice clear, his presence strong. When people asked his secret, he replied, confidence is not pretending to be strong. It is walking without the weight of fear. Empty your mind, and confidence will naturally walk beside you. Doubt is heavy, drop it. Fear is noise, silence it. Overthinking is a chain, break it. When the mind is empty, the heart walks tall. Confidence is not something you become. It is who you already are. Once you stop carrying the stones of fear. Arjun was admired in his town for being hardworking and ambitious. Outwardly, he seemed successful. Inwardly, he was crumbling. Deadlines haunted him. Expectations weighed on him. The fear of failing others never left his mind. At night, he couldn't sleep. Thoughts raced like storms. What if tomorrow I fail? What will people think of me? Why do I never feel enough? Stress pressed on his chest like an iron weight. He longed for freedom. One evening, he wandered into the forest until he found a calm riverbank. There, for the first time in years, he felt silence. By the river sat sage Mira, an old woman in deep meditation. Her face was serene, untouched by stress. Arjun fell to his knees and said, Sage, my life is a battlefield of thoughts. I cannot breathe without stress crushing me. Please, teach me how to escape. Mira smiled gently. You do not escape stress, Arjun. You empty it. When your mind is free of clutter, stress dissolves like smoke in the wind. The lesson of the heavy bag. Minute 1400-2000. To show him, Mira handed Arjun a heavy bag filled with stones. Carry this as we walk, she said. Arjun staggered under its weight. After a while, he collapsed. "It's too heavy!" he cried. Mira nodded. "So is your mind. Each stone is a worry you refuse to drop. Empty the bag, and you will walk freely. Empty your mind, and you will live beyond stress." Arjun dropped the stones, and felt lighter. Mira gave him his first practice sit by the river. Inhale deeply, invite peace. Exhale slowly, release tension. Watch each thought drift away like a leaf floating downstream. At first, it was torture. His mind screamed louder than ever. Regrets from yesterday, tasks undone, fears of tomorrow. But Mira reminded him, stress is not in life. It is in your refusal to let go. Let go and the burden melts. The parable of the archer. Minute 2834 Hullers. To strengthen him, Mira told a parable. An archer pulled his bow with force, but missed every target. His master said, "You grip too tightly. Loosen your hand. Breathe, and let the arrow flow." The archer obeyed, and his arrow struck the center. So it is with you, Arjun. Tension weakens you. Calm focus gives strength. As weeks passed, Arjun began noticing the wisdom of the river. It never fought the rocks. It flowed around them. It never held onto water. It kept moving forward. It never rushed, yet it reached the sea. He realized his stress came not from problems, but from his refusal to flow. Mira shared another story. Two travelers carried bags. One filled his with stones, the other with bread. After a long journey, the first collapsed under stress, while the second fed himself and others. Stress is not in the bag. It is in what you choose to carry. Arjun whispered, "I have carried stones all my life." 1 year. The village faced disaster, crops failed, water grew scarce, and fear spread like fire. The villagers begged Arjun for guidance. Panic rose in him again. What if I fail? What if they suffer because of me? But then Mira's words echoed, "Empty your mind, Arjun. Stress clouds wisdom. Breathe, release, and let solutions rise." He closed his eyes, released his fear, and clarity surfaced. He guided the people to dig new wells and share resources wisely. The crisis passed. The villagers praised not his strength, but his calm. The parable of the candle. Minute 5256 v100. Mira told him one final story. A candle cannot light if covered by dust. Stress is that dust. It hides your flame, cleans your mind, and your light will shine without effort. Arjun understood. Emptiness was not nothingness. It was clarity, peace, and light. Years later, Arjun became known as the man of calm. People traveled far to learn how he lived without stress. He always told them, "The world will never stop throwing challenges at you. But stress is not in the challenge. It is in your mind. Empty it, and you will see clearly." A student asked, "Master, what is the greatest freedom?" Arjun smiled, "The freedom to live beyond stress. Not because life is easy, but because the mind is empty. The every worry you carry is a stone. Drop them. Every thought you resist is a knot. Untie it. Life flows like a river. Stop holding, and you will float. So remember, empty your mind, and you will live beyond stress." Arjun was clever, hardworking, and full of dreams, yet he lived in confusion. His mind raced endlessly. Should I go this way or that? What if I fail? What if I make the wrong choice? The more he thought, the less he knew. His life felt like walking through fog. He longed for clarity, for the gift of seeing his path clearly. One morning, Arjun wandered into the forest, seeking answers. There, he found sage Mira, sitting calmly by a lake whose surface shone like a mirror. Arjun asked, "Sage, my mind is crowded with thoughts. I cannot see my way forward. How do I find clarity?" Mira smiled gently. "Clarity is not found by thinking more. It is found by thinking less. When the mind is empty, the truth becomes clear." Mira pointed to the lake. She stirred the water with a stick, and the surface became muddy. "Arjun, this is your mind, stirred by endless thoughts. Can you see your reflection?" "No," Arjun admitted. She set the stick aside. Slowly, the water stilled, and the reflection returned. "Now do you see? When you empty the mind of agitation, clarity shines by itself." Mira gave Arjun his first practice: sit quietly. Watch the breath. Let thoughts drift away like clouds. At first, his mind screamed louder: regrets from the past, fears of the future, choices waiting to be made. But Mira encouraged him, be patient. The storm must rage before the sky clears. Mira told him a story. A traveler walked through a dark forest with 10 torches in his hands. But the flames blinded him, and he could not see. Finally, he set 9 torches down and walked with just one. The path became clear. "Arjun, your mind carries too many torches, too many thoughts. Put them down, and the light of clarity will guide you." Mira took Arjun to a nearby village. The people there argued constantly, each offering different solutions to every problem. Arjun asked, "How can they ever move forward?" Mira replied, "This village is your mind. Too many voices, too many debates. Empty the noise, and only the true answer will remain." One day, Arjun faced a real test. The villagers asked him to decide where to build a new well. Arguments broke out. One side wanted it near the fields, another near the homes. The old Arjun would have panicked, drowning in confusion. But now, he closed his eyes, emptied his mind, and waited. Slowly, clarity arose, like sunlight piercing fog. He suggested a place between the homes and fields, near a natural spring. The people agreed. It was the perfect choice. From then on, Arjun became known for his wisdom. Not because he knew everything, but because he could see clearly. His answers were simple, steady, and true. When asked his secret, he said, "Clarity is a gift given to those who empty their minds." In silence, the right path always reveals itself. Confusion comes from too much thinking. Like muddy water, the mind must settle before clarity appears. Empty your mind, and the fog will lift. The gift of clarity is not found outside, it is born within your empty, peaceful mind.